Lisa. We love being in the Families Helping Families business. We've been doing this for 20 years, 18 years actively building, a couple years just collecting a check. My wife has been retired from this industry since 1995, and I have been retired from this industry since 2008. How many of you would agree that home is where we want to be?
Yeah.
If there was a way to have a business that was in your home that allowed you to be with the ones that you love most, how priceless would that be? How exciting would that be? And so we feel very blessed and very honored to be in an industry where that possibility is there. You see, here's what we've been told our whole life, and the purpose of today's training is to, take about an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours and bring in a huddle in our home and do some teaching and do some training and share some thoughts and some tips and share some of our leaders with all of you. But you have literally at your fingertips got an opportunity to create freedom. An opportunity to be able to do what you want, where you want, with who you want for the rest of your life. Could you imagine such an opportunity? How many of you realize that there are people in this world that have control of time and money? It's just usually not us. How many of you passed a beautiful home on your way over here today? How many of you maybe passed one of your dream cars on the way over here? You know what? This awesome country that we live in has given us millions of examples of people that are winning. Millions of examples of people that have got joy and happiness and control of time and money. It's just usually those people have not been our mentors. How many of you were told to basically trade your life in the way of hours for dollars? How many of you were taught that system?
Sure. Yep.
In school, for sure, that's what we were taught, right? Go to school so you can get a good education, so you can go get a good job. Where are those good jobs today? How many of you know someone who's graduated from college in the last 10 years and they've not even applied anything from that study into anything they're doing? How many of you know somebody that spent 10, 20, 30, maybe even $50,000 on a degree that's in a sock drawer? Because it has nothing to do with what they're doing. It's a piece of paper. I'm not for a second putting that down. I want all 5 of our kids to go to school. I am not a downer on education. I just view it a little bit differently than what most people are being told. When I think of education, I think of I want my kids smarter than their dad, and that will be easy to do. But I want them to have the memories and the fellowship and the fun and the commitment and the overcoming and the stretching of a human life and mind in an educational spirit. Are you with me?
Yeah.
I want them to have those memories. I want them to scrap and fight and be determined and prepare for tests and to leave it on the field and do their very, very, very best. And I want them to go to the parties and have the laughs and create the memories and have things to talk about 10, 20, 50 years later about the silly things they did when they were in school. Yes?
Yes.
I want them to get that whole experience. But I'm not promising those 5 kids that will lead to good employment. I'm promising them that it will be advantageous to your life. Advantageous to your life. Let me tell you how the wealthy get wealthy. The wealthy leverage their life through employees, because they make money on every single one, or they find someone that they can make money on, yes? Yep. Nothing wrong with that. That's capitalism. That's free enterprise. Or they write a song and they get royalty, residual income, yes? Or they write a book and get royalty, residual income. Or they star in a movie that goes to DVD and they make royalty, residual income. Or they're in a sitcom that gets picked up and syndicated and they get royalty, residual income. How many of you are not that person? I'm never going to star in a movie. I'm never going to be that guy. But here's what I know. I could lock arms with 4 partners. Who lock arms with 4 partners? 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 And do what? Share love, concern, friendship, and compassionate capitalism. Do you guys know what the difference is between capitalism and compassionate capitalism? Compassionate capitalism means that you invite everyone to be a part of it in a spirit of friendship, as opposed to capitalism that may be very highly competitive and dog eat dog. Are you with me? What we have to offer is the best way to create residual income that the world has ever seen, because it's family and friends hand-picking family and friends to be in business together. And there's only two ways in the world to make money. You're going to move a product or a service, or both. There's no other way. You're going to move a product or a service. Well, what we're doing is we are sharing some of the world's finest products that are affordable, that are needed, that people appreciate. And our products are so different from every other product that the world has ever seen. The credibility that we have with the FDA, with our Class 1 listed medical device called Power Strips, is that something the world needs, or should they just pop pills? Help me. Pop pills or wear Power Strips? Now watch this. They've all been conditioned throughout their entire life for 125 years. So when you have a problem, you do what? Pop pill. Is it going to take us a little bit of time to get them reaching for a Power Strip? Now watch this. For those Power Strip pioneers, for those people who are willing to share. Is that my dishwasher? Turn it off. Oh, okay. I'll talk.
He'll never concentrate. Talk over it. There we go.
I know the realtor in the back of the room knows how to turn that off.
He killed it.
Okay. Thank you, Ryan.
Nice.
Now, where in the world was I? Oh, popping pills. We've got an epidemic. We've got an epidemic that we get to fix. An epidemic of the abuse of pills for pain. We consume more pain pills, whether it's OTC, over the counter, or prescription, than the rest of the world combined. I'm not proud of that, are you? Would you agree that the rest of the world hurts too?
Yes.
They just don't reach for pills. They look for natural approaches to deal with their aches and pains naturally. All our company FGX has done has grabbed the best, purest, natural ingredients and put them into a form.
Popping pills.
Sorry. It is a home-based business, okay? We're not in a corporate boardroom with a stuffy tie. All we're doing is taking God's best ingredients and putting it into the body through a strip on the area. Funny little cool term of stick it where it hurts. It's going to make some of you millions of dollars. Now, we got nutrition, and most of the world is malnourished. Why? Because of our farming practices, the way that we grow food. I'm not saying it's all bad. I'm just saying more than likely you are highly malnourished, even if you weigh 500 pounds. If it's not in the food, it's not in your body. What happens if nutrients are not in your body several days, several weeks, several months, several years, or multiple decades? Somewhere, typically, between 40 and 60, you find out what malnourishment does when you start to have multiple challenges within your body. We've got a product called Solar Strips, and those Solar Strips melt in your mouth, are 100% bioavailable, and give your body what you probably didn't get from your tacos, burgers, and peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Are you with me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How many of you agree that there's probably not a lot of antioxidants in a burger? A little sliver, maybe. Anyway, so here's the deal. Are people spending a lot of money to deal with pain?
Yep.
Is there a humongous need in the way of nutrients for our children?
Yes.
For our parents?
Yes.
For everyone? Is there anyone who's left out of nutrition? No, there's this group of people and they don't need it?
Nope. No.
Every man, woman, and child in the entire world needs nutrition every single day of their life. or pay a humongous price down the road because of the absence of those vitamins and those minerals. When we share our solar strips, we're sharing with people pure nutrition, not a vitamin. The world's got a million supplements, but your body was designed by God to need whole food. Do you need to suck on rocks or eat whole food? Solar strips are whole, pure food, the best superfood in the world. Is that good?
Yes.
And would you agree that especially in North America, well, and also in Asia, that people are very vain and they want to look their best?
Oh yeah.
Folks, people spend billions upon billions upon billions of dollars to look their very best. And we have a scientifically proven little tiny strip of serum that when applied to your face goes to work at the deepest level of cell nutrition and repair. Is that better than just smearing something on? Do you want to get to the fixing of it, or do you just want to candy coat it? Got to get to the fixing. We got ingredients that will get in there and go to work at the DNA cellular level. Is that good?
Yes.
So we have 3 products that can be shipped around the world in the way of an envelope and be sampled all over the world in 190 countries, and we're in pre-launch. You can do with this what you want. Let me tell you about human nature. Many of us fear will get the best of us. Doubts will get the best of us. Feeling like maybe this isn't for us because it's awkward to us and we do nothing with an opportunity that could have set up your children's children and have you have your life never have to revolve about going and getting small amounts of money. How many of you know someone who specializes in small amounts of money? They go and they go get a week's supply of it at a time. And the next week they're out and they have to go get another week's supply. And a week's supply and a week's supply and a week's supply and a week's supply and a week's supply. And next thing you know, you die. Because you specialized in an old economic system called trading hours for dollars. You didn't participate. If you were to ask 100 high school graduates, what is the United States of America's economic system? They'd look at you funny because they don't know what our economic system is, even though they just graduated from its school system. Our economic system is free enterprise. And everyone everywhere else in the world is brilliant because they come here to participate in it. And our own people are told 100-year-old advice. Go to school to get a good education for the purpose of surrendering your life in the way of trading hours for dollars unto another man or woman's dream. And that's what we teach, and that's what they do, and they've been brainwashed by old, well-intentioned, good advice. You see, watch this. During the Industrial Revolution, 1900 to 1920, they needed to scoop up everybody. Now, they had been without slaves for about 40 years, and they were desperately trying to get people to leave their own small businesses. Maybe you built saddles. Maybe you made wagons. Maybe you grew tomatoes. Maybe you had a small family business of some type where you made a widget or a little thing in your barn. Somehow, some way, we needed to pull everybody off of their family's business to come to work for someone else's business so that they could make money on you because they had a dream of being wealthy. And they couldn't trade enough hours to get wealthy, and they needed you. So they offered what? Benefits. Something that you did not have in your small business, in your back shop, where you made baskets or widgets or whatever. So they convinced you to come to work for them, and they offered a pretty nice scenario because in the beginning they said this: if you will come give us 40 hours a week for 40 years, we will pay you what we paid you until you die. And the people went, wow, you'll pay me till I die? And I don't have to show up? You see, the dynamic went like this. You'd have your business or your farm. And then when you got older, you passed on your family business to your 3 sons and your 2 daughters. And they ran it and you stayed there and you lived together and you had the beauty of that family that was tight. Mom and Dad paid their dues to make things good for their kids. The kids paid their dues to make things great for their kids. Now all of a sudden, There's the first generation of people where they didn't have the family farm to keep paying them. And one by one, companies reneged. And we had a calamity in the greatest nation of all time. It was social insecurity. When a company went out of business that promised to take care of your parents, and now your parents are 71 and 72, and maybe you're going to live for another 10 years, 20 years, but there's no family business because you're trading hours for dollars, and guess what you soon find out? I need all of my money to live. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. So here you had this massive crisis in the greatest nation in the world. And they had to go straight to the president and enact a temporary fix for this social insecurity. People were going to what they called poorhouses. And people were trying to pitch in to take care of them. And people were literally starving because there was no one to take care of them. So they created Social Security. And it was supposed to be for 2 years while the country figured out a way to reposition itself to care for the aging. Now guess what happened?
Didn't.
2 more years they voted and they said, we need 2 more years. Next thing you know, we need 2 more years, we need 4 more years, we need 5 more years, we'll get this handled. It never got handled. And watch this. Why did it go over so well in the beginning? Why did the greatest lie in our economic culture, why did it stick so well? Because if you were picking cotton, you made 15 times less than the 1 in 1,000 person at the time that had a college education. And 1,000 people suffered while 1 lived like a king. And the 1,000 all said to their children, oh, that my child might be educated so that you could be the supervisor, so that you could run the plant, so that you could be the engineer, so that you could be the architect. And there was such a disparaging difference in dollar amounts and lifestyles that everyone from then till now has said, please, I heard this from my great-grandfather, I heard this from my grandparent, I heard this from my mother and my father. Go to school and get an excellent education so you can go live the dream. Today there is roughly $2 an hour difference between those with an education and those without. And today the self-made millionaire population of America is primarily built through the minds and abilities and talents of those with no diplomas beyond high school. So listen, the great equalizer is compassionate capitalism. The great equalizer is once you know the truth, you can do something with the truth. We're not down on education. We just don't want to further the lie by promising somebody a great financial situation that education would guarantee them. Because it is not a guarantee. Now watch this. I want to give you an education that I believe is a greater guarantee than anything you've ever been guaranteed, told, or thought about in your life. And that is this. If you would be willing to find 4 good partners, 4 good people, 4 people that are not a quitter, 4 people that want more out of life, 4 people willing to pay their dues, 4 people open-minded, 4 people with a great attitude. If you'd find 4 of them, I can show you a way to create a 6 or a 7-figure income, and it will not be easy to find those 4. But it will not be nearly as hard as spending $10, $20, $30, $50, $100,000 for an education to start a 40-year situation. I can show you in the next 90 days to 5 years, we can take anyone in this room and help you to create a 6 or 7-figure income if you'll give us 1 to 2 hours a day. 1 to 2 hours a day. Now let me just tell you this, the biggest challenge, you say that sounds great. No, the greatest challenge is that the average person will only be an expert at trading hours for dollars, and when it comes to opening, starting, and running their own business, they will draw the line on the hour to 2 hours invested in your company. That's the catch. What's the catch? The catch is people won't do for them what they'll do for someone else who holds a carrot out in front of them. Someone comes in and says, we can break the cycles of mediocrity, average, ordinary, and not extraordinary, and take it to extraordinary, incredible, awesome, and mind-blowing. And people go, I don't know, I'm so... ... I'm so not believing. I'm so scared. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so not sure. I'm not sure about when you'll get to stop working if you don't do something different. I'm so not sure that your spouse likes living hand to mouth like mine you lived prior to this opportunity. I'm so not sure that you're okay with the fact that when your kids have crisis, I'm sure you're not going to feel good about not being able to fix it. Because if you live on every dime that you earn, you will not get to be there to fund challenges. How many of you want to be able to fund everything your family needs? Somebody needs to be able to stand in the gap of the challenge. And most of the time, 90% of your problems are fixed with a check. People tell me all the time, well, money's just not my thing. And you know what I feel like saying but don't say? Then why do you spend your whole life going to get small amounts of what you say don't matter? If it's so not important to you, why do you make your wife go do it too? And then you both hate it. You both complain about it. The kids look at you and they go, I'm not fired up about that plan. And then we wonder why we have the first generation that will not do better than their parents. Because they heard mom and dad complain about it. They lived a life of, this wasn't that great. And they lose hope, turn to drugs, look for a cheap thrill. Or is that just people in Norco? Maybe not where you live. We got to transition. Everyone say transition. Transition. We have to transition into what creates wealth. Now, I don't want employees to make money on employees. I tried that. Oh, they're difficult. You think you don't like being one? Try to be the boss of them. Every problem is your problem. So let me...